gang, I was talking in a previous video about how if pain or major discomfort is resulting from doing an exercise, chances are really good it's not the exercise in and of itself, it's how it's being done. In other words, it's operational error. I got a bunch of questions asking about pistol squats, single leg squats, what I did to cure my knee pain with them, because at one point they were causing knee pain and now they've cured it. So here are the things that I learned, and maybe they can help you out if you're struggling with them. Number one in this, okay, is closed squats should be your foundation. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner become extremely proficient at closed squats. I still practice my closed squats every single day because they embody a lot of the qualities you need in single leg squats that are sorely lacking, especially resulting from other types of training. Barbell squats, leg presses, these sorts of things do not develop the qualities you need in single leg squats. And I'm not just talking about balance. I'm also talking about other qualities that you need to have for balanced leg training, such as working your pulling muscles. Every exercise, this is what I'm learning, is every compound exercise you ever do is a combination of both pulling activation and pushing. It's just one of them is dominant. So if you're doing things like squats, it's typically thought of as like a pushing exercise, but there is a pulling component. Your hip flexors, your hamstrings, and your shin muscles, your anterior tibialis, have got to work extremely well when you are doing advanced body weight exercises to keep pain out of your sensitive areas. So a lot of times when people do this, they're getting pain in the front of the knee. Why? Because there's not enough activation in the back of the knee, in the hamstrings. And this is why a lot of times when people are doing like pistol squats or closed squats, they fall backwards because they're not pulling enough. When you get down into a deep squat, you should literally be pulling yourself together with almost, if not as much force as you are pushing into the ground. Third, is in and down. A lot of times when people are doing squats, their knees go outwards a little bit. I see this a lot when people do close squats, the knees go out. And so what ends up happening is the force is going outward and down. What you want to do, or at least what I learned to do, is I got to really adduct the hell out of my legs using those adductors in the hamstrings. So I'm literally pulling my knees towards each other and pressing straight down, trying to get on that center line principle. So it's a myth or a misconception that you want to have the working leg in front of the hip. You want your knee on the center line, which means your femur, the top of your leg, is actually going to point inwards when you're doing this. This is going to erase a lot of torque and tension on your knees when you're doing this. And then lastly, knees forward and torso back. Don't be a fool like I was, where I thought for the longest time, it's like, oh, I've got my single leg squat. As long as I'm on an elevated surface, my knees are way back, my back is rounded forward like crazy, my arms are stretched, and I'm wobbling all over the place and stuff, and I'd be like, whoa, look at my single leg squats. And now looking back on myself, I'm like, yeah, you got it all right. Here's the thing. Your objective with single leg and advanced bodyweight squats should be as solid and stable as if you were doing it on two legs. No wobble, no balance issues, none of that. Okay? People say it all the time. Oh, single leg squats are a balance exercise. Yes, when your balance sucks, when your tension sucks, when your proactive muscular engagement isn't very good, it is. You got to get that taken care of. It's not supposed to be a balance exercise for too long. It's a strength exercise. So when you are doing this, make sure your knee comes as far forward as possible, keeping your heel down though, and make sure that your torso is back as much as possible. People say, well, don't round your back and stuff. It's fine. You're supposed to round your back. In fact, it's better to round your back. This whole keep your back straight kind of idea is a carryover from weightlifting. When you have heavy weight and your hands are on your back, yes, you need that, but that's a handicap. Okay, in general health and fitness, we have weak backs because it's like we're only strong in an isometric position. Our back is only strong if it's straight. But when it bends and when it flexes and stuff, muscles turn right off. And this is why a lot of people have lower back issues sometimes when they're like, oh, but when I'm doing single leg squats, I feel it in my back. That's because The knee is back, so the torso has to go forward. There's stress there. We don't know how to keep our muscles engaged in a rounded forward position. They're turned off, so when we stand up, we got all this wobble and we're taking our lower back and just wrenching the hell out of it. You gotta get rid of this, okay? So knee forward, torso back, keep your back tight, but let it round a little bit, and engage, again, like all those pulling muscles, and a lot of that stress should just disappear on you. It's gonna take some practice. Don't be afraid to regress your technique and go a few steps back. The single leg squat is one of those moves that really is more advanced than people give it credit for. And again, like I said, I was at that point where I'm like, oh, I can squat down and stand up on one leg, but that sure as hell wasn't, really proficient at it. The objective is not to do the exercise. The objective is to master the ever-living hell out of it. And most people never get there. They get like 4 or 5 wobbly, arched over single leg squats. They think, yeah, I've got it. And then they move on and they think they've mastered it, and they're not even close. So there are my tips for you. Let me know if you have questions below. Be fit, live free.